Thank you very much, Djaheezah, and we're happy, of course, to convene, I think that's the correct word, with a lot of other partners that you can see also. Others are Veolia, Johnson Controls, of course also the city networks, ECLAY, and C40 that are part of this initiative. So let me just start. It's the District Energy in Cities Initiative, or the Global District Energy in Cities Initiative. We have basically set for ourselves, and it doesn't work, 3 goals. So the first one is, of course, to promote and explain what technology is behind that when we say district energy. And to keep it short is basically the central distribution of hot and cold water to buildings, so to heat or cool them. So that's why it's also clearly linking to the buildings energy accelerator that Jennifer will introduce later on. So it's the increased awareness part that was very much in our focus for the first year of the initiative that has been running. We published, or UNEP actually published, a flagship report that you can find in the back, and some of you can see already have that. Then we want to, of course, promote and strengthen the local national policies, and by that we mean that we do capacity building, mainly with the city networks ECLAY and C40 that then would host in the different jurisdictions these workshops. And the third one is really to create an investment environment, so to have actual demonstration projects after the end of, 2017, so to say. We kickstart with the COP. The 3 main jurisdictions at the moment, where Djaheezah will say a couple of more words to that, are China, India, and Eastern Europe, which we also extended now to Colombia, for instance, for more district cooling projects. So that's just to give you an overall frame. It has really these 3 pillars. Can you move one? Okay, it's not at all. Well, then we're going to improvise, obviously. That's good, and to stay efficient. The 3 parts that I think we identified that a lot of cities are interested. I mean, you have with district energy, you can basically implement a lot of different energy sources. That's the beauty of it. So you don't only, you have a network of hot water, and whatever kind of source of energy you have, you can basically plug that in. So it can be from wind, solar, to biomass, or you can use actually, which is very smart, excess heat of, for instance, industry, like the paper and pulp industry would be one example, or also copper industry, like where you have a lot of energy use and have a lot of heat that would otherwise just be pumped into the thin air, kind of. And there you see also kind of the link towards all the different accelerators to really look from a more comprehensive perspective on like energy systems in general, right? It's about like using the energy we have in a smart way. So we, first of all, don't use as much, but then can integrate renewables. That's the approach. The global, so I've covered basically this one, so we can just go on. What the initiative is trying to do is one, the light touch and then the deep dive approach, similar to the buildings one, where you have, we work with a couple of cities. We had 45 cities in the report that I mentioned before, which is more on the light touch. You have a case study, you work a little bit on policies and so on. And then we have the deep dive approach, which we at the current state with the funding that we have can only do in like around 5 cities that should be in different jurisdictions, where we bring the city. It's kind of this hand-holding process. We know the city is interested, has the climate goals in place and so on, but what are the next steps? So really develop the project with them, and at the same time engage with finance institutions through the overall platform of sustainable energy for all. So you have these 3 kind of pillars. I should also talk about the multiple benefits, and we heard, I think, from energy efficiency broadly, but of course, to make the statement again, the energy we don't use basically is money saved. So that's also the overall goal. I mean, it's not just that you get better air quality, you have better energy security and independence, but it's also the fact that you can then spend that on healthcare or education projects. So it's really the entire benefit. And you see a lot of buildings, and I just want to reiterate, like always, that we see if you have an efficient supply system, like which you would have with district energy, you still need very efficient buildings, right? Because it's kind of the one or the other doesn't go on its own. It's like when you have, it's also about smart technology, so you actually can't make the mistakes, so to say, and save there. Yeah, the long-standing barriers that I also already touched upon a little bit are, of course, that there is this awareness part of saying district energy doesn't make this technology actually more dependent on the energy. No, it doesn't. You have hot water as your medium, and you can heat that water up or cool it down with the different kind of sources that you have. The capacity, of course, in the cities is also very different because it's very technical to actually implement that, and you need a lot of different partners, right? In one given city, you could have, since heat markets are very localized, you could have up to 5 or 6 district heating companies. You have the government that owns parts of it, or not. It could be private, as different models. Then you have the different buildings that need to get connected and so on. All these different stakeholders are brought together under the initiative to work together. So to give you a status on India, for instance, there we started with 5 rapid assessments in different cities. Rajkot being one of them as part of the Smart Cities Initiative in India, where we go out very concretely with ICLEI, Empower, Dubai, that have this expertise in district cooling, and Danfoss, and sit down and first of all assess, okay, what are your heat and cool demands? And then go and really support in the planning phase so that we follow up to the climate commitments with a step-by-step approach and really get to the implementation phase, because we see a lot of commitment, but how do we really get there? I think that was it from my part, just to show that from our end, I think from this business perspective, we see all this interest, and then we see that the finance community always tells us we have the money to go into your projects, but what happens in the meantime, right? How do we really create bankable projects on that large scale? Because it's an infrastructure investment. It's not like, okay, I'm changing this or that. So there we really see this value of this platform that to one shows the potential, but also really goes into the implementation phase of we want to do some action and see something on the ground, and that beyond the COP, obviously. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia. Just a couple of brief remarks from me to supplement what Julia has been explaining to you. We have seen through the analysis of the 45 case studies in the cities in various regions that, well, definitely, first of all, this is proven technology. It's not R&D. Paris cooling system, district cooling system, is almost a century old. So we're not talking of of course, the technology has evolved, is operationally much more efficient, but this is technology that we can trust. We see that in many instances, this is very much cost effective, whether it's for district heating or district cooling, and the data is there to back those statements. But of course, that is connected to whether there is sufficient density and whether the local sources of energy are there. For example, we have small towns that are completely heated by the waste heat coming out of landfills. We have, according to a study from one of our partners, Euroheat and Power, the amount of waste heat in Europe is sufficient, if it's captured, to heat the whole of Europe. So industries in Europe are wasting immense amount of heat, and it's just not being used. So just imagine for the economies of Europe, if the heat wasted were recovered and used for heating the whole of the building stock across Europe. Going to maybe very briefly on the countries that we are supporting under the initiative, we see there are different policy drivers in the cities. I will probably start with the first one, China. So Julia already spoke on all of those. So next, please, until we get to India, if it works. So in India, the whole of the work, no, it's not working. So we'll just do without. Yes, forward, please. More. Okay, more. Okay, maybe back. So this is, in a nutshell, what this initiative has done in a year, because it was actually launched at the Climate Summit in September last year. We've done 10 training workshops. We have 2 detailed case studies, in addition to the main publication that Julia mentioned, City of Paris and City of Milan. We have done a number of training webinars, 6 of them together with either ICLE or C40. Our city network partners, we did a regional launch. The global launch was at the Climate Summit last year, and 3 regional launches for Asia Pacific, Europe, and Northern America. The one for Africa is planned at the AfriCities Summit on the 30th of November this year. The publication is available in English. The Chinese and French versions will be launched at the COP. Next, please. Next, please. Those are slides that Julia already covered. Next, please. Next. So in India, which is one of the initial countries supported, we will be doing rapid assessments. The methodology is we work with the national government and the city government, because whatever we do and pilot and demonstrate at city level, we want that to be replicated at the national level. And the only way for us to do that is to work also with the national government. So the work in India is being done in the state of Gujarat, in 5 cities where rapid assessments will be done, and based on the results of the rapid assessment, we will then choose the most appropriate city to do the deep assessment. And it is adapted to the local context, and in India, this work is being plugged under the framework of the Smart Cities program. And we are associating ourselves with development financial institutions like KfW and the Asian Development Bank in India. Next one, please. This is just to show how the electricity demand can literally double between winter and summer due to cooling demand in Indian cities. Next one, please. Another example is in Serbia, and the support we're providing to Serbia is actually going to inform the heat law of the country. Because in Serbia, they already have district heating systems, but obsolete ones that are not efficient and that are highly carbon intensive. So there is an element of fuel switching as well. Next one, please. Another example is in Colombia, where there is an interest from the government to do a NAMA on alternatives for air conditioning. For them, this policy driver is actually phase out of HCFCs. Next one, please. China is another interesting example. We have, at the moment, working with the NDRC, National Development Reform Commission, so again at national level, to fine-tune the selection of 5 cities, again doing rapid assessment in 5 and then picking one for piloting. And the main driver in China is actually addressing air pollution. Next one, please. And finally, maybe ending with a connection that we've made with the Climate Technology Center Network, CTCN, which is hosted in the UN City here in Copenhagen. So UNEP is hosting the CTCN. And CTCN provides assistance to countries at no cost for anything dealing with the technology cycle. It could be a policy development, could be an assessment, could be a capacity building activity. And we've teamed up with the CTCN to support Bosnia-Herzegovina, city of Banja Luka district heating system. And I think that could be also a good way for other accelerators to tap into the support that the CTCN can provide to countries and cities. And this is, again, closing the loop between the efficiency accelerators, the climate convention, and the various platforms available, and making more efficient uses of all of those opportunities. I'll end there. We're very happy to answer any questions, and maybe you just go to the last slide where you will have the PowerPoint, so you will have the last one, please. You will get the website of the initiative at the end, so districtenergyinitiative.org. Please visit the website. All of the tools and resources and information on the partners are there. And please feel free to reach out to either myself, my colleague Lily in Paris, and Julia here in Danfoss. And of course, any other partner to whom you would like to reach out to under the initiative, let us know, we'll connect you. Thank you very much.